Okay. Is everything working?
Should be.
Yeah. All right. We are in the studio, Lake Effect Radio at Lakeland Community College, and we're just gonna talk about some recent news with David Njoku and his contract, touch base on some NBA stuff that's going on right now, and yeah. So for starters, David Njoku, a little bit of a practice holdout guy because he wants $13 million for his contract, putting him in the top five highest paid tight ends in the league with guys like George Kittle, Travis Kelsey, Dallas Goedert. So, yeah, David Njoku, he's a good tight end, but he's not in that top 10 conversation to be getting paid that much.
He's in the top 10. He's definitely not in the top 5.
Yeah. No, no way.
But even Mark Andrews, that's sort of a stretch depending on what year of he's having.
I mean, Mark Andrews is really, really good.
Yeah, let's see. Let me
'Cause
look up his stats.
Because he really had a breakout year, especially like last season. He's always been solid, but he went crazy with how much, how many yards and receptions he racked up.
Well, yeah, last year it was sort of his second year, but definitely his first year wasn't the most hottest.
Yeah, well,
Third, but if you compare, the only real justification to compare him to sort of Kittle or what's his face, Travis. He only had one really good year, and that was last year.
And that's true. That's how it is for a lot of players, especially with guys like Christian Kirk breaking the whole paying, the payment market. Like Debo Samuel, he wasn't anything super special throughout his tenure at San Francisco, but it just so happened that last season he lit the league on fire with how crazy a hybrid player he was and what he was able to do at any position on the field. So now he's demanding just compensation for what he's been able to produce. But yeah, it's only been one season, so next season he could stink. Just like Mark Andrews, he did great last season, but who's to say that with the offense getting back a lot of their running pieces, which was the centerpiece of that Ravens offense, will he really be the same, high octane player that he was, or will coaching make it the Ravens back into that run game and his stats see a significant drop off?
Yeah, it's sort of that mix. But yeah, because what Kittle's probably had, which I'm trying to pull up right now, he had to have at least by now, I want to say 3 years necessarily, of either pretty darn close or 1,000-yard seasons.
Yeah, and
Here I am.
a lot of that was also injury. A lot of injuries happened for him in between season.
Actually, it was almost spot on. So last year he had 910. Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty close that you could justify in that. So, not counting 2020 that, yes, are injury issues. But then you go 9 and 18. He had at least 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
Each year. I could justify that being definitely within the top 5.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mark Andrews. He has a potential, but I couldn't say right now. Yeah, he's top 5.
I mean, if you're going off of last season, you have to put him top 5. He's top 3 after that season. It just the way he played, the stats even prove it. Like a guy like Darren Waller before he, went through a lot of little injuries here and there throughout the season, he was right up there with Kittle and Kelsey. He now, do I think he could eclipse what Kittle and Kelsey do? No. But Darren Waller was, that third guy on that top three. But, it's also like Cooper Kupp last season. I don't think he was technically the best receiver in the league. I still think Devontae Adams was the best receiver in the league. It just so happened that his stats proved otherwise. So like with Mark Andrews, that you're right there, where he was force fed the ball because he was the only healthy person on their offense, with every single running back into their practice squad guys getting hurt, no quarterback, just having him and no receivers.
Pretty much like the Cleveland Browns, like when Colt McCoy was here.
Yeah.
That would be the easiest way to describe it.
Yeah. But yeah, Njoku wanting to get paid $13 million, which puts him in that top tier, top 5. He hasn't proved that much at all. I mean, he was splitting reps with, a former Pro Bowler, but even against Austin Hooper, he was all right. He definitely he was not a Pro Bowler when he played for us, but he did all right.
They overpaid.
Definitely overpaid. But to that point, Njoku, he didn't do anything that would have told me I need him on the field instead of Austin Hooper.
Yeah.
Because he had, he always had, one pretty athletic play because he's super athletic. But it's just, fundamentally as a receiving tight end, he just really didn't look like he had, the footwork that would be necessary for someone to play at that next level, especially someone who's seeking $13 million in a contract.
Well, even that consistency in between catching and blocking.
Oh, yeah. Because, only a select few can get away with that. Like Travis Kelce. He is not a good blocker, but he is such a receiving threat, it doesn't matter at all.
Which I actually have his stats up right now. So his first 2 years, well, not counting 13 because he didn't really play. So his first 2 years actually playing. So at least over 800 yards a year.
Yeah. And that's not, counting the quarter. Because Alex Smith was good, but he wasn't Patrick Mahomes good.
Yeah. Then after that, from 16 on, you're talking 1,000 yards a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, he's number one. From 2014 to now, putting up 9,000 yards receiving as a tight end and 57 touchdowns.
Oh, yeah.
There's
not many guys.
Njoku, him.
Right. There's not many guys who are touching, Travis Kelce's resume already. His legacy is already cemented.
So I don't see except Waller, he has the potential to be.
Yeah, he just needs to... His body just needs to stay healthy, though. That's what killed him last season. But I think all of those guys on the Raiders can have... They'll probably post crazy... the Bengals, they had, 4 players who had over 1,000 yards receiving. So you have guys like that on the Bengals. Easily the Raiders could replicate that, if not to a greater degree, with Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, Devontae Adams. That pretty easily all those guys can get over 1,000. But yeah, it just comes down to keeping a lot of them healthy. And that's the biggest issue for, especially Darren Waller, his hamstrings. DeAndre Hopkins, that's what killed him. He could not keep his hamstrings healthy.
Especially his first 2 years of Baltimore, he didn't really do much with them. But then this is his first year with the Raiders, But then after it, if you don't really, because last year a little bit injury-ish issues. The first 2 really full years with the Raiders, Yeah, putting up almost close to 1,200 yards back to back
Oh yeah. Oh
seasons.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah. That's just the issue. Just those guys. Yeah, they have that potential to be, contending for that number one spot. I mean, in some
mm,
positions, it's really kind of like clear this guy is gonna be the number one guy. Like no one in the league is going to be better than Aaron Donald. Like, yeah, T.J. Watt, but I mean, it's like that's a different position because
mm,
he's not really a lineman, but he's not also he's like a hybrid linebacker defensive end. So it's like, but as a pure defensive lineman, no one's better than Aaron Donald. Myles Garrett's a close second, but it's just Aaron Donald's level of dominance and how coaches solely game plan for him. It's just a different level of skill. You know.
no, it's true. It's like right now, like the best example. So you have Waller. The past 3 years, he put up 14 touchdowns and close to almost 3,000 something, close to 3,000 yards. Let's say. Okay, let me go over to Joku. Except my Google Chrome's being really funky.
Hmm.
Yeah, every time I had to go really back. So let's go to Njoku. He's got what, 7 touchdowns and barely 700 yards.
Yeah, that's.
Who would you pay three $13 million to?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
Let's see.
but no, it's if you go compare to going with McDonald, yeah, it's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Except I think at some point in time, Garrett will actually get to his level.
I mean, I think Myles Garrett is already at Aaron Donald's level, but it's just like Aaron Donald is just still better. Because like if you were to have to, let's say they're both free agents, you're a GM and you have to pick one or the other. You can't really go wrong either way. They're both going to instantly make your defense better. But I
Mm,
think it's just Aaron Donald, the way he's just more imposing because Myles Garrett is great. But it's like 2 seasons ago, like post COVID, he completely lost it. Because again, he was averaging a strip sack every game for the first like 5 weeks, which is ridiculous. But Aaron Donald was able to keep the consistency and keep the motor going where every game he was a threat. There were games you watched where Myles Garrett was almost a non-factor against mediocre defense or offensive lines. So like that's just the difference.
well, it goes to that point of it's that thing of this past year we had a better defensive line
Yeah, yeah,
to a point, but it wasn't. Besides Clowney, though, like when he got injured, after that, teams were like, without Clowney, of well, who are we afraid of?
yeah. Just the one guy, and if we can stop him, then
Miles.
right. And then what else are they gonna do? 'Cause-
Then yeah, you go to like right now necessarily. Yeah, you have Clowney back. It's that really mixed thing of now you have Garrett Clowney back. The only thing is defensive tackles right now. We don't have what's his face since he got arrested in Florida anymore. That was sort of threatening young guy. It was like
oh,
McDonald or something like that.
yeah,
Yeah, that
uh,
guy. That would have been great, and people would have been afraid of him.
yeah, Yeah.
Slash, they take advantage of him because he keeps doing stupid stuff on the sidelines and getting 15-yard flags thrown because he can't
Right.
keep his temper. But outside of that, no other team is afraid of any of our tackles we got.
Yeah. Because we just don't have anyone who's proven that they can be a game wrecker.
Uh, but they were saying about bringing, was it Shoe or Sue? Yeah, Sue.
Oh.
Yeah, they were talking about,
I mean,
but he's really past his. No one's really afraid of him now.
yeah. I mean, he works. I mean, he works. If I was Ndamukong Suh, I would just stay with the Bucks. Because I mean, this upcoming season, realistically, they have the best shot of going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because there really is not that much competition that they have to get past. But yeah, I mean, yeah, he's definitely past his prime. He's still good, but that was also a product of being next to Shaquille Barrett and Vita Vea. So it's
Oh
like,
yeah.
on top of that, you have Levante David and Devin White. So it's like your entire defense is really good. Outside of the secondary is iffy, but the linebacking core and the defensive line already is crazy good. So I think, yeah, he was more of a product of fitting in with a good system. So would I say should the Browns get him? If we can get him for cheap, I'd say yes. Because he's not worth the same money as the other guys are getting paid. But, having a vet.
Like $13 million.
Yeah, right. But yeah, having a vet on the defensive line like that would help. He's played against some really great offensive lines. So I think he still has something, But unless we got him cheaper, I wouldn't do that.
And he's not much of a fear factor.
He was, but yeah, now it's
Yeah.
again like
He is good. He sort of makes difference occasionally. Do you expect like Garrett
no.
sort of changing of the game with him?
No, I mean
No.
he'd be the inside guy to what Jadeveon Clowney was outside. So if we had him, it would make our defense better, but would it be worth the price tag? I don't know. Because yeah, he was a product of a good defense overall. So it's like,
I rather
You know.
would have seen Danny Sheldon come back, which he's not as fearful
yeah,
still yet. But he is good. You could probably got him cheap. But he's sort of that quiet sort of star
oh yeah,
that teams worry about.
yeah.
It's sort of that thing of mix a mix that I would have loved to see. But God knows he's probably signed with somebody by now, and
Yeah, it sucks, to have a lot of those guys. A lot of those guys develop elsewhere, and looking at them now, imagine how good we could have been if we still kept them. It's crazy, it's crazy. Like Joe Hayden, one of the biggest problems with us was our secondary, and on the Steelers, he became like a stalwart player on their secondary. So, it hurts, but yeah, it just happens.
Oh no, that happens a lot. Or they were good players, and then they turned great, but then we won't keep them because we didn't want to spend the money.
Yeah.
Was it T.J. Ward is one, Mitchell Schwartz? He was another one. Alex Mack.
Yeah, that was a big one.
And you run down Pandora's box on that.
Right.
Sheldon he's not playing up to the potential. Then after that, his production picked up when he went over to the Patriots.
Yeah.
So Yeah, we're guilty of that. But then it's sometimes we let or traded away the right people at the right time. Like Anthony Henry that we didn't re-sign, and then he went down to Dallas and he didn't really do much after that.
Right. But there are, even still though, there were a lot of big names that could have helped us considerably, but you know, we just didn't pay them. But I mean, that's how it is. You can't always pay everyone, and you have to make room. And with that, it's a lot easier for teams that are already proven contenders and have a proven winning system to get all those players and have them buy into the team first, aside from money. And that's where Tom Brady staked pretty much all of his success past his second Super Bowl. It's because guys knew that the Patriots were proven, or at least knew that Tom Brady would always be a contending quarterback. So they wanted to, play the veterans minimum for the chance to be on his team. I mean, that's the entire Bucks team: Leonard Fournette, Rob Gronkowski coming out of retirement, Ndamukong Suh, Shaq Barrett. Like, you have all these guys just wanting to play with him. You know.
Yeah, because that he's got the best chance out of anyone.
Yeah, and it just sucks because the Browns just we aren't good. I mean, for the most part, we're just not good. I mean, yeah, a few seasons recently, thank God, we've been better, but we still haven't been great. And because of that, like Njoku, if let's say he was going to sign with the Buccaneers or the Packers, maybe not the Packers because they don't really win, but the Buccaneers, he would probably take a lot less money because, look, this is the best chance you have at a ring. You just go here, sign, let us get more players that could help us on this journey. Whereas in Cleveland, we're not proven that we can contend for a Super Bowl. We're a playoff team, definitely, and we have the potential to contend for Super Bowls 100%. I mean, we held the Chiefs close multiple times. We've been able to battle with some of the best teams in the league.
Heck, we knock off Pittsburgh back to back.
Right, and that was when we were undermanned both times. Right? No coaches one game and then no players the other, and we were able to just destroy them. So that we are a team that can contend, but we aren't proven that we are able to do so as of right now, and that's why a guy like Njoku, who realistically shouldn't be getting paid more than maybe 6-ish million, if that, wants 13.
Yeah. I mean, really, the max for him should be really 8.
Yeah, and that's generous too.
Yeah.
Very generous.
Until he proves otherwise. It'll be different. This year, if he went out and put up 1,000 yards and, let's say, 12 touchdowns, I could justify going up to 10.
Because, I mean, then again, like I said, he was splitting most of his time with Austin Hooper. So, yeah, if he's able to pick up that production and really be that number one guy, then fine, yeah, the contract may be justified. It's still a lot, but it may be justified. But he has to have bare minimum has to have an 1,000-yard season and 10 touchdowns. If he's gonna play 17 games and be the number one option, he has to. Especially with a guy like Deshaun Watson at quarterback, still a really solid O-line, and a field spacer like Amari Cooper. There's not much in the line of excuses for him to not have a good season.
Yeah, that's like, I had to go over to Hooper's stats, which wasn't impressive at all. Even though, let's say, you cut his numbers in half, so give Njoku 100, 120 this past year add on in that. His first year, let's say, another 215 yards. it still yet doesn't really get him to that hump yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, we sort of just splitting his stats like in half.
Right.
Hooper's stats.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. He has to do a lot to justify the money we threw at him because we're spending a lot. Because like even Deshaun Watson, we're spending a ridiculous amount on him. And now, granted, this situation's a little bit different because whereas Njoku's never really proven much, Deshaun Watson proved that even with nothing, he was still a perennial top five quarterback. I mean, which
Yeah.
is that's more than impressive, right? So it's a lot more justifiable that he made a lot of money. Now the amount of money isn't because he might not play that much. But
But
I
he
do
has
see,
more production than
yeah, like I do see the
necessarily
line of reasoning
Njoku.
because
Yeah.
the difference is in Joku, we don't know if he's going to do the same mediocre style of production throughout the season. Whereas, Watson, we know that at bare minimum, or at least what we think of what's going to happen, that he will make us a contending team for a Super Bowl because he's just that good of a quarterback. So I mean, it's different, but I mean, yeah, we are spending an egregious amount on a lot of guys. We'll see if it pays off because we had to cut a lot of really big pieces to our team or fundamental pieces that could have developed. So we'll see. We will see.
No, it'll be interesting to see sort of what happens in that. Except I sort of get the whole thing with the whole Hill trading him back over the Rams thing. I
Yeah.
mean, since you have Greedy, you have Ward, now Newsom, you know, what's the sort of point?
Yeah. Because I mean, once those guys are all healthy, it's a
Uh,
completely different conversation. Because I mean, when we were hurting, oh man, I mean, we had no one to really fill in, and when guys did, they just weren't good.
it's like right now, if you went through, which I would be fine with Williams as sort of slot guy or third one in. And that you have Newsom on the one side, you got Ward on the opposite side. Not including Greedy could always sort of bounce in if someone has to miss a game
Oh
or
yeah.
something because someone has a decent sized bruise on their knee and it's you know
Right. So I mean, yeah, I mean, when we're healthy, we have that depth needed. Like our
uh,
offensive line, even as we lose pieces, our coach is so great. Our offensive line coach is so great. He makes those younger guys be able to, step in and play really well. Because I remember, there was like third string offensive linemen who looked like they've been playing, at the same level as our, damn near Pro Bowlers when they had to go in and play, and they did pretty good. And
oh yeah,
granted,
Don
yeah, yeah,
what's his face? Hands.
yeah,
Yeah. I don't know, the jury's still out on Harris.
yeah. Well,
He sorta, but then wasn't sorta. I'm not hugely fond of him being sort of starting center,
yeah, but
but with how you let him, you're sort of in that pickle now after you let
I
your
mean,
actual starter go. So,
right. But I mean, luckily, the offensive line is really a
uh,
unit rather than one player. Because, I mean, Joe Thomas, for as legendary as he was, one of the greatest ever at the tackle position, I mean, it didn't help us at all when no one else could block. Our quarterback couldn't make a read to save his life. Quarterbacks, rather. Right. And, but luckily, as a group, even with weaker links here and there, we're still really strong overall.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Because really, the only one battle on the offensive line this year that's going to happen is with the starting center, the guy we picked up from Seattle
Yeah.
or Harris.
Right.
Which one?
I mean, so long as we have a good enough center to help us,
Hmm.
because we, that's where we pride ourselves on that run game and offensive line. Because when they're clicking, no one's stopping them. Like Nick Chubb can average 7 yards a carry, and then on top of that, you have Kareem Hunt, who brings a completely different style of running to throw off a defense and just bully his way
Hmm.
into the end zone. Like,
Well, even like when Chubb's in his, let's say, being Chubb mood, you can get him so far that he just goes and bullies people down and
yeah,
one hands them, throws them into the ground, and then he's
yeah,
gone.
oh yeah. I mean, and that's what hurts even more because like we've said this, the other two times we talked about Cleveland. It's sad to see how much we squander what could be because Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are amazing. They're the best, running back tandem in the league without a doubt, and it's not close. All right, because Nick Chubb is, one of the best guys in the league, and Kareem Hunt, he's inside that top 10, that top tier echelon of running backs. You pair that with a top 5 offensive line, you know the the ability to be good is there. It's just when our offensive line that is so great decides to play down to competition and just not be what they can be, then our run game starts looking mediocre. And it's like, how is this even possible? Look at who we have and what they can do.
Especially Chubb being so quiet.
Yeah.
He doesn't brag and that. I mean, he sort of hits like that Jim Brown style of, like when he played of. He just was sort of quiet and he'll just go out either and just do it.
Yeah. He's a lot like Kawhi Leonard in that way.
Oh yeah. Not including when you can tell when he really gets in the groove or when he's sort of ticked off. When he starts tossing people down and
Yeah.
breaking it.
Yeah. But speaking of, tossing people down and stuff, I'm hoping Derrick Henry can come back and be the player he was because no one was as much of a bruiser as Derrick Henry.
Oh
But that
yeah.
but that foot injury, especially after what he didn't do in the playoffs, is very concerning because you never want to see a great running back just,
Fizzle out
poof, right.
after injury. Yeah.
And that's already happened. Like Saquon Barkley, he was looking to be like at Chubb's level, if not better, as a receiving back too. But then injuries. Ezekiel Elliott, that, rookie season, he was going to be the next big name. Injuries. And only recently, Leonard Fournette was able to overcome a bad situation and start to produce. So there are a lot of guys who have had a lot of trouble.
Well, you could even
It
throw in
sucks.
Adrian Peterson.
Yeah. To be fair, though, he's
He
already
had
had
a
his
great
career.
moment, then yeah, injuries, then sort of struggled, then yeah,
I
it was a
mean,
very rocky
that's
back and
true, but
forth thing.
yeah, Adrian Peterson. He should just be done with football at this point.
Probably is,
Probably
but
is. But he was a really fun player to watch.
oh yeah,
He's an all time great. He's yeah. But yeah,
yeah, the EC because he had what his ACL twice through his career.
I think
I
yeah.
want to say,
And he's old too, really old. So I was really excited for him debuting on the Titans. That was fun.
mm,
When he got that his first touchdown back, that was cool. But then it's not even like the Titans, even without him, did that well. He realistically was as good as God, like the two backups for Derrick Henry. Was it Hines? Something Hines maybe. But regardless,
oh
he
yeah,
was
Hines.
he was kind of as good as the other two guys, but he was older, so
Yeah, Hines is from the Colts. I'm blanking on
yeah,
his
I
first
know.
name.
But the Titans two running backs, I forgot them.
No, I could look that up. So yeah, Peterson's actually 37.
Yeah, He's,
I'm trying to see. I think he played last year.
yeah, he played on the Titans a little bit. They picked him up off of waivers, and he got like I don't know.
Yeah.
He had maybe like 4 touchdowns because it was like after Derrick Henry got injured and after one of their bench guys got injured, so they had like their third string and they needed another running back. Adrian Peterson's like, look, I can still play. I'm in shape, and so he did for a little bit.
Yeah. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I'm just curious in his stats and that.
He didn't do much because I mean he was added late and he's also very old.
Well, as the career overall,
Oh well, yeah. That's I mean
14,020 yards, 115 touchdowns. God.
yeah. Fifth
He,
all time in running yards.
oh, he was, yeah, Tennessee, then even Seattle, he was out there for last year. Which, yeah, he didn't do squat, 16 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, last year, in between the Titans and them, 108 yards.
Yeah.
Was that really worth it?
But I mean they needed someone because they literally had no one.
It's more at his end, necessarily.
I mean yeah.
Was it really worth,
But I mean he wanted to play. He also made a little bit of money for it, so
Yeah.
why not?
Wait, who was I looking up?
Adrian Peterson.
No.
Oh, the two
Backups
backup
for
Titans running
Titans.
backs. Yeah,
Okay.
because I know one of the two I think got injured, so then they were like, oh, it was Deonta Foreman and someone else.
Okay. I'll have that right here in a second. Really? Hilliard?
Yeah,
Hilliard from the Browns. He was the backup.
yeah.
Huh. I didn't realize that's where he went.
Dontrell Hilliard and yeah. So once because they didn't do anything, those backup guys, Foreman
Yeah.
and Hilliard really just didn't do much. So that's why they brought in Adrian Peterson to maybe kickstart their offense because
But Foreman didn't do much when he was in Houston anyway.
true. But I mean that was the problem with the Titans because like their entire offense ran through Derrick Henry, and without Derrick Henry, that forced Tannehill to throw the ball. And Tannehill's not bad, but he's not good either. He's like Tannehill's like Kirk Cousins, but less of a passer, more of a runner. So pretty much like good, but like also
He's like the
So-
game manager of
Yeah.
QBs.
yeah.
Of he won't win it, or he can sort of win it, but not win it. But he won't let you lose it, or he could sort of let you.
Yeah.
It's sort of that,
And it didn't help that Julio and AJ Brown were riddled with injuries the entire season. So it forced him to have to be a great quarterback, and then without a run game, there was nothing. So, Mike Vrabel's entire offense was that run game. So without even receivers, now you have to focus on that run game. And that's why they brought Adrian Peterson in because there was, no production anywhere. And that's what killed him.
No, it's true. If we were really smart, we should have threw Johnson their way and traded him down there.
Yeah,
Because you think after that one game,
he did really
I don't
good.
remember if that was before the trade deadline or after. We could have made a bang on a draft pick.
Yeah, we should have. We should have.
Why? Because how desperate they were.
Oh yeah, I mean, because there were a bunch of teams that needed a running back who could have given us, something in return. Like I'm not gonna say we could have traded Johnson for, like Tyler Lockett or something, but the Seahawks desperately needed a good running back because Rashad Penny only got good this season.
Mm.
And then outside of that, they just didn't have anything. Their offensive line was bad, so they needed some bright spot. And, even with Russell Wilson, Metcalf, and Lockett, once defenses started to grow accustomed to their routes and how they played, there was nothing else Russell Wilson could do with no time in the pocket. So,
No, it's true.
yeah, we could have gotten a lot more for a guy like Dearness Johnson, especially after the season he put up. Because when he needed to step up and play, he stepped up and played. He did really good.
Yeah, if we were really smart, we should have done that. I'm not sure about was it Felton necessarily?
I mean, like, I think Felton is kind of like Johnson and Felton are like Chubb and Hunt. Their running styles are kind of similar, where Johnson's a lot quicker. He's still strong, but he's a lot quicker, goes to the outside. And then Felton, he's a pretty solid receiving back though. He's a
Yeah,
really good receiving back for what I've seen out of him. And that can be really big because Chubb isn't the best receiver. He is like the quintessential running back, right? Just a ground and pound guy, gets gritty, he's strong, he's fast, makes great cuts, probably the most elusive back in the league, behind the line. And then Kareem Hunt is more that, power back bruiser who can also catch the ball pretty well. So I think if Felton, I mean, it's the way with a lot of guys around the league, but especially for our team, there are so many young players who have shown a great deal of potential, but just have to, find that. Because Felton, he took a lot of big hits and kept going after the catch, which is
true.
huge. I mean, out of the backfield, if we can establish both receiving guys and straight up running guys, that'll make a defensive coordinator have to plan for all three of our running backs. And any situation like, okay, we see Kareem Hunt on third down, where they're probably going to go up the middle, or they're probably going to throw a little screen pass. They have to plan for that, throw on play action or something, and then
Yeah. I know I read an article, what was that, Wednesday night or was it yesterday? That they were saying necessarily about the whole wide receiver core with, yeah, you have Cooper, you got Jones, then what Bell that we drafted and that they're saying like Anthony Schwartz could be a hit and miss of whether if he hits the roster or not.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. That's fair, I guess, because he's smaller, but I mean, it's just getting acclimated, and that we just aren't spending enough time on a lot of these young guys because they could have been molded into better players. Like Schwartz, he got a little bit of a chance, but then after he got hit, janked up a bit,
That's why he botched up an opportunity too and giving up on a route and helping a QB sort of mess up his shoulder.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, I remember he got like hurt because he went up for a
Yeah.
contested ball and got absolutely rocked. He's a little guy. So I mean, yeah, I mean, we just haven't given a lot of these younger players, our best effort to get them to where they can be or what they should be for what we have right now. So I mean, I guess it makes sense if he's battling for his spot, but there's nothing we can do about it.
No. Yeah, I just found that interesting that
Yeah.
they went out and put it out of yeah with our two signings and what we had drafted. Then the interesting thing would be will Peoples Jones actually show up?
Yeah. I mean,
Will this be another Higgins situation?
right. Cause he's shown that he's really good.
Mm.
I mean, he has great hands. He's great footwork off the line, and knows where the ball needs to be for him to make a play. But yeah, he's just so darn inconsistent. Cause yeah, like sometimes he'll be the go-to guy who we need to get the ball, and other times it's just he's a non-factor. It's like he's just another receiver who just happens to be out on the field that day.
Yeah, like this past year was sort of like a hit and miss situation. Compared to his rookie year of yeah, he had a few issues,
Yeah.
but it was the many flashes of you wanted to see of. He put, I mean, that diving down the line, go ahead touchdown in Cincy.
Yeah, exactly. Like
That
that was
was
pretty. That was like a DeAndre Hopkins kind of catch. Like that was a big play. But then, a week after that, he does that doesn't do much. So
and
we'll
that
see.
because like this past year, I mean, he was lucky. I don't think he even got 500 yards
Yeah, I don't know.
at max. That was probably being sort of generous necessarily, and the point.
Right.
Let me take a look really quick. That. Oh, I forgot from the last time. It actually just came to me. Tack McKinley, the
Yeah.
one defensive end that
Oh yeah, yeah.
I knew it was McKinley. I was blanking on it.
Let's see.
Let's see his stats. Yeah. Oh, he almost got 600 yards.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns,
I know he had quite a few drops.
58 targets, 34 receptions. I mean, it's not really that. It's not really that bad. I mean, it's not. Nothing pops out on the stat sheet, but I mean, if he had more targets, because a lot of those were they're just bad passes, probably.
I know it was one
Hmm,
game
it's not
last
bad.
year
It's
that
not
he
terrible.
dropped a few of them that were. I mean, if it's in your hands, you should have a pretty good shot.
Right. Yeah. I mean, all we can hope is that he'll somehow turn out to be Jamar Chase. Everyone's saying that he can't catch in the preseason to being, offensive rookie of the year. And yeah, I mean, I hope we somehow can get that talent at receiver because we're gonna need that for the future.
I was hoping they were going to get Chase, but seeing what he did in Cincinnati, I don't think Chase. If Chase came to Cleveland, I don't think he would have had that great of a year last year.
No, he would not have been the same player because I mean,
Even 2 or 3 years being here, I don't think he would ever quite to have a season like he did down there.
yeah, no, I mean, a lot of that's game plan too, because we're a run heavy offense, especially with not fully trusting Baker to throw the ball, and more or less that's justified. Versus Joe Burrow, who showed that he is a really solid quarterback, a winning quarterback when you need him to be, especially even though the Bengals didn't have an offensive line whatsoever, all of their pieces together were like equal to, if not better than what we had. Because, even though Joe Mixon wasn't as good as Chubb and P. Ryan wasn't as good as Hunt, they were comparable. They were much better receivers than the two, and Burrow's a better quarterback than Baker. And as far as receivers went, Odell, he was good, but I mean, a lot of that was miscommunication on both ends. So, we botched that.
Another thing I think is that Pat last year is he just didn't want to be here.
Yeah, that's true.
He
Yeah.
sort of had that mindset, and that was before really the whole big situation happened.
Yeah.
Let's say, so bringing up bad memories of he just didn't seem like he wanted to be in Cleveland.
I mean, I guess I can kind of understand it though, because from a guy who was on the Giants to go to the Browns and kind of experience the same thing, because it's not like the Giants had, a great quarterback while he was there. It was all right, and he still posted great numbers. But as he got older, got a little slower coming to Cleveland, to have Baker almost remind him of that really low level style of play where, his best moments came when we got him the ball early and let him work. I mean, yeah. I could kind of understand that.
Yeah. Then his dad selecting the certain little videos to make him look like the greatest and being overlooked.
I mean, yeah, like,
Anyone could do that.
oh, 100%. I mean, every receiver has those moments where they're just free and the quarterback just doesn't find them, but that's the way the game is.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a QB, you have to account for everything on the field. The 300-pound guy is coming toward you at full speed. On top of that, see where the check down guy is if you have him, and then where the safeties are playing if they're going to go, undercut that route or whatever. So, like, I mean, yeah, but yeah, those clips, although, yes, some of those angles are really bad. Where Baker will just straight up underthrow Odell with 10 yards of separation, go ahead touchdown. Those are bad. But, you're not looking at the times where Odell dropped a ball in his hands with, like, no defensive back on him. Like on fourth down one game and then fourth down the game after that, there were game-winning, plays, and he just straight up dropped the ball. And, no one's really talking about that, where he had a little bit of a drop issue. On top of that, him being injured, it's not like he was doing much of a service for our offense, because defensive coaches knew that, look, he's not going to be able to burn us over top because he's too slow. His ankle's hurting, his calf's hurting. Just play him soft and, just have our other guys do the work. So, I mean, yeah, that video was bad, but put it in context, yeah, those are just really cherry-picked clips. As bad as they look, yeah, I mean...
Even though it could be some of them that could have been turned around.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, some of those clips, too, a lot of them are just
surprised Baker's wife didn't go around and
right,
do
right,
it.
right. Fire back.
That would have been hilarious, though.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But that would have just started World War III.
Oh, yeah, I mean, hopefully things will turn around for us, that we, with all of our acquisitions, can compete again, because, last year, a huge disappointment. We should have definitely been in the playoffs. Easily should have been in the playoffs, but, and like I, kept saying, this year's going to be really hard with how great every other team is. So we have to bring our A game when we're not making it. It's as simple as that. We don't play good. We don't play near perfect. We're not going to make the playoffs, even with how good we can be. So,
no, I get it. Yeah, it's pretty much that time of gotta be consistent and put it up.
right,
Shut up.
right. And speaking of that consistency, you look at the NBA, playoffs right now. In the East, there is nothing consistent about the games. Game one blowout, Heat win by like 30, and then they somehow lose by 30 the next game. And this series between the Heat and Celtics has been one I just want to conclude. It just hasn't been fun to watch because there's only been stretches where they've had really close, good basketball on both ends. But then everything else was, Heat have a 20-point lead, and the Celtics have a 30-point lead. It gets cut into, but they still end up losing by 14 or win by 16. It's like, where's the fun in that?
We'll see. If Miami can come back, win one, Saturday?
Tonight.
Or tonight? Okay. So tonight.
But they have to win on the road.
Which it's possible.
It is.
You never know.
But, I don't know.
Maybe you'll sort of see that gritty game of maybe it won't be by 14. Maybe it'll be, by 8.
Hopefully.
Definitely, if it goes to a game 7, that's going to be a tight nail biter.
Oh, yeah.
It's not going to be, 30 or 14 difference in that.
Yeah, I mean, but overall, it's just been such a weird series because both teams are great teams, but the Celtics, when they lost to Miami, they turned the ball over so much, and it just didn't make sense why they turned it over so much. Because, again, Miami's a fast defensive team, but, Boston, they have more, big-centered play, and so they shouldn't be forcing a lot of those outside passes to, like, Kenny Pritchard. Like, what is he going to do? Maybe knock down 1 out of 7 threes wide open because he's just not a good player. but they could just feed the big man inside every time, and they just didn't do that the first couple games. And then Miami, the first couple games, because they were going fast, playing hard, getting steals, going in transition, they were killing the Celtics. But then for whatever reason, they slowed down as of late. You know, Bam Adebayo, for as good as he is, plays like he's a little kid afraid of going against Roy Williams. Like, it's like you have to do that. You're not a stretch 3 or 4. You have to be the big man. You are their center. And it just
Huh?
and you know, I watched some of the recent games, and it just looked like when Miami misses, they miss bad. They take terrible shots. You know, you still have like 10 seconds on the play clock, and you have like Gabriel Vincent, you know, chucking up a corner three, and it just doesn't make sense. It's like both teams abandoned the way they, you know, knew how to play and win. Like, and for all intent and purpose, Spoelstra should never be getting out coached by that Celtics head coach. Never. Spoelstra is better in every way, a better coach, but he's getting completely out coached by that guy. I just don't understand why they're abandoning their, you know, their team style and whatnot. And I mean, maybe it's rigged, and I guess it would make sense because you figure every time, you know, the games are aired, they get money for it. So I mean, it would make sense, I guess, right? That, you know, the Heat and Celtics, the way how it's been a
Or
blowout here,
internal
blowout here.
pressure from the owners. Put on
Maybe,
a show.
maybe, but it's just like the margin of victory has been so all over the place. It just doesn't make sense. Because I mean, like, how are the Heat gonna go from blowing the Celtics out game 1 to getting blown out game 2? You know, it just doesn't. It doesn't make sense, especially with like 30 points, or like when Golden State lost to the Grizzlies by like 40 points. By the fourth quarter, all the starters were subbed out. Like, I don't know how that happens. I mean, like, I don't know. A lot of it has to come down to coaching or something. So, I mean, the Celtics realistically
Unless they
should
didn't
win
bring
tonight.
their A game with them.
And I mean, and to that point, yeah. So, of course, everyone's going to have a cold night or two. But to be that bad consistently, despite being that good, you know, also consistently, does not make any sense to me. How the Heat, despite knowing how to beat the Celtics, having beat the Celtics in the way they know how to, not playing the way they know how doesn't make sense to me. You know? And it's, I mean, it's not like the Celtics are that much better of a team. And like, they're both better in certain areas, right? The Heat are a better 3-point shooting team. But, you know, Al Horford is not going to guard any one of those Heat players. He's not guarding Victor Oladipo. He's not guarding Bam Adebayo. So why aren't you guys, you know, attacking the slower, older guy? You know, or why aren't you testing Roy Williams? I know he's a great big. He's a great defensive big. I understand that. But, you know, you have to test those guys, even the best in the league. If you can test them, make them uncomfortable, let them know that you're going to be in the paint all the time. If they start getting fouls instead of blocks, that can change the game and change, you know, the way you have
the
to play.
outcome and
Yeah.
all that. No, it makes sense. I don't know.
It's just such a
It
weird
sort of
series.
seems like you go back a few years ago to the, finals and all that. I mean, the game's changed that sort of defense and all that. It just went out the window like now.
Yeah. And that's
It's either one extreme or the next.
That's true. That's very true. I mean, but that's the biggest problem for the Heat. Despite being a
Uh-huh.
great 3-point shooting team, you know, when you're shooting like 30% from the field, not even from 3, it's like, you know, then what are you going to do? And it just doesn't, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me how they're getting killed that badly. And then on the other hand, the Celtics, they're playing solid basketball, but, you know, to that point too, like, they commit too many turnovers for no reason, and they're bad turnovers. They're just they're unintelligible shots. I don't understand, a lot of their pacing, because when they slow the game down, that forces the Heat's defense to slow down. Because in basketball, you know, your defense can speed up an offense, or their offense can also, speed up your defense, slow you down. It's just which team has a more imposing, level that day, right? So when the Heat are speeding up the Celtics, like we saw in Game 1 and Game 3, I think, they were killing them because the Celtics couldn't handle how fast the Heat were playing. But when the Celtics were able to, get comfortable and slow everything down, they were easily able to dismantle the Heat, because the Heat strive in the transition. When you take that away, they're forced to run their sets, and then they don't have a big who's ready to play against a real big. And once they can't get off those 3-point shots, they're really a non-factor
Yeah.
outside of Jimmy Butler in the mid range. But for whatever reason, the Celtics commit so many turnovers because they try to play to the speed that the Heat plays sometimes. Like Jaylen Brown will just like try to, take the ball from the top of the key and attack a double team and get the ball stripped. It's like, why are you doing that? It just, both teams know the recipe for success, but none of them are following it. So like tonight, the Celtics could easily win the series, beat the Heat by 30, or the Heat might blow them out by 30 and stay alive for a Game 7 so the NBA gets more money. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or depending, they took their playbook from the whole season long, contest and, lost it. They probably put in a couch cushion,
I mean,
at some random hotel that they, stayed at for whatever game, and they lost track or something of it.
like it's got to be something like that. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
Or they forgot to, how they, put in their computer and saved it and forgot the name of the file. And
Yeah.
they're still looking for
Like-
it. It's one or the other.
It's got to be something like that. I mean, yeah. And then on the other hand, Golden State going to the finals yet again. I knew it. I knew the Mavericks wouldn't be able to outlast the Warriors. They just didn't have the depth. But to see the Warriors in the finals again,
I know.
it kind of hurts, especially since they'll probably win a ring. It doesn't really matter who they play. Because, they're a better three-point shooting team than a Heat, or at least comparable, because, Klay Thompson, he doesn't even need to dribble to be able to torch a defense, and Curry's just Stephen Curry when he's on. So, yeah, if they play the Celtics, they'll be better shooting against them. I think matchup-wise, they're probably better, too. Maybe. I don't know. Because, they're not as good defensively as the Heat.
No.
Definitely not. But their offense, I think, is just that much better. So they'll just be able to make the Celtics uncomfortable and take away the Celtics, biggest pride in that defense, and force Tatum and Brown to be the two guys to go against, the entirety of the Warriors. But, Golden State, Steve Curry, he just knows how to coach them so well. And all of the pieces fit together so well. So I don't know.
No, it'll be interesting to see what happens. In a way, it's sort of that thing of... I would like to see this series go to 7.
Yeah,
In a
definitely.
way, probably Miami make it out. But it sort of goes that thing of... You have the Warriors that, let's face it, we've seen way too many times.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Or maybe Miami could pull something out of the hat and knock them off.
Here's to hoping, but Miami would have to get past Boston first, and Boston would have to somehow figure out how to stop Golden State. Because Golden State doesn't have like a great big, but I just think offensively they're quicker than the Heat. Defensively, no, but offensively, they can get shots off a lot easier and a lot cleaner. I also think they have guys who can knock down a lot of those more intermediate shots easier. You know, especially with Draymond, who I hate Draymond Green, but you know, I respect how he plays because he is one of the most consistent defensive guys. I mean, he's the only guy I've seen play who can have the opportunity to get a quintuple double off of like steals, rebounds, and assists, but manage to score only 3 points the entire game. But I mean, what he does on defense is next level. He can guard pretty much anyone, you know, well enough, and he's not afraid of anyone too. Like he will go at Roy Williams if he has to. He will, you know, make him uncomfortable. He'll talk trash to him. He will tell him like, "This isn't your league. You're not old enough yet." Like, I mean, yeah. If the regardless of which team plays the Warriors, I still think the Warriors probably win in 6 games at maximum.
In a way, I'm just hoping whoever could maybe go in there and knock them off.
Oh yeah, I hope they do because I don't want Golden State to win another ring. I mean, because it would be so much better if that younger Celtics team wins that ring, you know, especially or like if the Heat guys win the ring. I'd much rather that, you know, like that's why the like recent playoffs were so much fun. You know, they had the highest viewership in a long time because it wasn't Golden State and Cleveland. It was the Suns and the Bucks. Or even when it was Golden State, it was, you know, Toronto, Kawhi's run versus them. Like, you know, or the Lakers with LeBron the first year. You know.
Yeah. No, it'll be interesting to see what happens tonight.
Yeah.
Then after.
Oh, yeah.
And see who could knock off who and all that. And I hope to God I don't have to see Steph Curry's face holding up.
Another trophy.
Yeah.
I mean, if he wins that ring and probably becomes Finals MVP finally for him, he's probably top 10 all time. If he wins the ring and gets a Finals MVP, he's staked the claim to be arguably top 10 all time.
In a way. But in reality, because I just don't like him, I'm just going to go and pretend like he doesn't exist.
Right.
So, yeah, to be honest, I'll just go that route.
Yeah, but yeah, it would be really, really interesting. I just hope that at least tonight it's a good game and it's just not a crazy blowout one way or the other. Like, I just want a good, close basketball game, please, from this series. Because that's only happened, like, 3 minutes in the second quarter. And then it stopped.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, I mean...
Well, it's like Wednesday in that... What, the Celtics, they were up... What, at one point in time, like 20-something that?
Yeah.
Then they went down to, what was it, the last, like, 4 minutes that they were up by, like, 17. And it's like... I don't know. It's that thing of I didn't want to completely watch, but then I didn't want to see it if it just the rails fell off.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, these playoffs have been fun, but they've also been really, really odd with the crazy amounts of points that teams won by that they shouldn't have. Because, I mean, I understand having an off day, like you said, but Golden State should not have gotten blown out by a Grizzlies team by 40 points.
No, that's ridiculous.
You know, like with everyone healthy too, and the Grizzlies were without Ja. I mean, I don't know how you lose by 40. Like maybe 20, fine, but 40 to those guys, and all respect to that young team, but I mean, this is the fully healthy playoffs Golden State Warriors who just lost by 40 points to a rebuilding team for what it's worth. It's like, I don't know.
No?
It's been weird.
See, that's the one thing. That's why you play them.
Yeah.
And that it's not given to you because anything could happen.
Oh, yeah.
And that... Because we'll never understand that logic at any point in time.
No way.
So and it's even like college, NFL, and that. Yeah, no one. Come on, even like let's say the Cubs won and knocked the Indians off.
Well,
It still sort of stings, but
oh yeah, yeah. That it was like a Avengers soul for a soul kind of thing, because when the Cavs came back from 3-1 and won it, the Indians had to, or the then Indians had to lose 3-1, which is, it's not talked about. Thank God we had that same year, the Cavs winning, coming back 3-1, because that was even more historic, but no one talks about how we blew a 3-1 lead in the same year.
I know they got that happen. There's a lot of people they would have laughed at. Except if you go to Chicago. A lot of people in Chicago, if you say you're from Cleveland, will probably bring it up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
nationally, in that sort of just got blown over.
Yeah. But I mean, it's good for Cleveland, I guess, because it saved us a lot of that.
Oh, yeah, humiliation, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, it's true. I'll give you that one. I tried not to think about that one, though.
Oh, yeah. No, no, no. Just remember the Cavs won, and then everything's okay. That series didn't even happen. I don't even think baseball, was in season that year.
Yeah, they were in the middle of a lockout or something, right?
Right.
A good cover-up.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Good times.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. So this has been a little bit of sports talk on Lake Effect Radio at Lakeland Community College. Tune in next time, and we'll see you.